Driving home one night, a man felt an unshakable sense that he wasn't alone. The air inside the car felt heavy. Glancing at the rearview mirror, he quickly snapped a photo and froze. In the mirror, right behind his passenger, a pale, smiling face stared back. It wasn't his friend. It wasn't anyone he knew. The grin was too wide, the eyes too hollow. He showed the photo to others. Every reaction was the same: shock, disbelief, fear. Was it a trick of the glass? Or had something unseen joined them for the ride? Look closely. Do you see it too? As a child, one visitor to the famous ship Queen Mary took 2 photos inside what's known as the haunted closet. In both, the same chilling figure appears, a shape standing near a girl, its hand seemingly resting on her neck. Witnesses recall that right after taking the first photo, the child burst into tears, terrified by what they saw. When the second picture was taken, the same shadow appeared again, unmoving, as if posing for the camera. Experts have analyzed the photo for years and found no sign of editing. Crew members claim that this part of the ship is one of its most haunted, tied to unexplained deaths during its service. What was that figure? A reflection, or one of the Queen Mary's restless spirits still lingering in the dark halls? The sender claimed that her friend might have captured a ghost. The friend said she saw a ghost and checked her camera to see if it appeared in the photo. The image shows a faint, blurry figure standing near a car, its outline almost transparent. She insists it wasn't a camera malfunction. Something was truly there. The person who received the photo had never believed in ghosts before, but after seeing this and several similar encounters, began to doubt his skepticism. What do you think? Could this really be a ghost, or something even stranger? The owner of this photograph, Dave, recounted, "This picture was taken on March 23rd while my friend and I were walking through the forest, testing my new Packard Bell digital camera. We took several photos, and some of them turned out strangely. If you zoom in on the trunk of the main tree, you can clearly see something resembling a face staring back at us. Neither of us smokes, so we cannot blame mist or vapor. We honestly have no explanation and would appreciate any help identifying what this could be." The forest that day was quiet, too quiet. The branches stood motionless, as though holding their breath. In the photograph, lodged deep in the texture of the tree's bark, a faint face seems to emerge, eyes shaped from shadow, a mouth that forms something between a grimace and a silent scream. It does not look like a trick of light. The features appear too symmetrical, too deliberate, and disturbingly aware. Some who examined the image claim the face resembles something pressed from inside the tree, as if a figure were trapped within the wood itself. Others say it looks like a watcher, something living between the trees, observing anyone who crosses its path. What do you see in the tree? Leave your thoughts in the comments. It was a normal party, adults chatting, children playing. Someone took a group picture of the kids. But later, one detail stood out. Behind a girl in a yellow jacket, a figure can be seen walking. Its shape is human-like, yet entirely monochromatic, washed in gray tones that do not match anything else in the room. Its form lacks detail, no clear face, no clothing, just a smooth, eerie silhouette drifting between the children. Everyone who attended the party insists they saw no such person. No costume matched it. No guest resembled it. So who, or what, was moving among the kids? What was this gray shape? The photograph shows a simple room. A young woman stands slightly off to the left, her face hidden, not for any mystical reason, simply because she didn't want it shown. But even without her face, it is clear she is not the focal point of this picture. In the dark glass of the door on the right side, a silhouette appears. It looks as though someone is standing deep inside the room or directly behind the glass. The figure stands perfectly still, as if watching quietly from the shadows. The woman insists she was completely alone in the apartment. No one else was home. Who do you think is standing behind the door? This happened on November 28, 2009, during the tour of Mary King's Close in Edinburgh. They were the last ones in the group, lingering near the exit, and decided to take a few pictures as souvenirs. Nothing unusual happened, just a faint feeling of being watched. Days later, while looking through the photos, one image froze them in place. In the doorway, a doorway that had been locked and inaccessible, a face appears. Only a face. No body, no shadow, just a glowing head, suspended in the air, staring into the camera. Its eyes are bright, unnatural. Its expression empty, persistent. No one could have stood there. After the tour group left, the corridor was sealed. Yet the face remained in the photograph, illuminated from within. Who, or what, appeared in that doorway? Late at night, just before closing time, a woman walked into a cafe. She stepped inside and vanished. No employee saw her leave. The indoor cameras captured nothing, not a single frame of her walking through the room, as if she dissolved into the air the moment she entered. Days later, a security guard rewatched the footage and noticed something that hadn't been there before, a transparent figure standing in the corner of the frame. He became convinced it was her, the woman who went in and never came out. Since then, the cafe closes earlier. The entrance camera has been removed, but the motion sensor still goes off from time to time. The room remains empty, completely still, except for the lingering feeling that someone remains inside, someone who should not be there. What do you think happened to the woman? Write your thoughts in the comments. The user uploaded this photo claiming he had found a ghost. He explained that his mother had taken the picture while he and his girlfriend were returning home that evening. His brother immediately noticed a strange face in the window and pointed at it in shock. On the left side of the window, a pale face is clearly visible, as if someone is watching them from inside the house. A trick of the light, or a real ghost, no one can say for sure. People still argue whether it's a montage or a genuine paranormal occurrence. The picture gives chills and raises a terrifying question: who could be hiding behind the glass? Would you dare stay in that house after seeing such a face? This chilling photo was taken during a paranormal investigation at a cemetery known for its ghostly activity. The camera caught what appears to be a blurred figure sprinting between the graves, something human-shaped, but too fast, too faint, too wrong. The photographer swears no one was in the frame. There was only silence, the rustle of leaves, and the faint hum of distant traffic. Yet when they reviewed the image, that shadow was there, as if running from something unseen. Those who have visited the cemetery say it often feels like you're being watched. Some leave with strange chills, others with unexplainable images on their phones. Was it just motion blur, or a restless soul fleeing the world of the dead? It was the night before Halloween. The children stood by the window, watching the street as their grandfather took a picture to capture the moment. Later, when he looked closely, he saw it. A dark figure standing right beside the kids. Its face was shadowed, its eyes faintly glowing. The shape seemed to blend into the night outside, yet its outline was distinct enough to send chills through anyone who looked. Some say it was a reflection, others believe it was something else. something that decided to appear on that thin night between the living and the dead. Was it just a trick of light, or had the spirits truly crossed over that evening? The person who shared this image wrote, "This picture was taken by a trail camera on my parents' ranch in Texas. Later, I learned that the camera had been placed near where an old homestead once stood. When I found the memory card, I brought it to my dad, who downloaded the images himself. He's good with Photoshop, but there was no time for editing. I was with him the whole time. The camera is motion activated, and no one resembling the figure in this photo has ever been seen on the property. The location is deep within the ranch, completely restricted. The photo shows a blurry, ghost-like figure, the shape of a woman standing still, facing the camera, her face indistinct but eerie in its clarity. No one has been able to explain it. The photo remains untouched, exactly as it was taken. Who was that woman? A remnant of the land's past, or something still walking there? The photographer described this moment. "This was taken during my very first ghost hunting experience about 7 years ago. No editing, no filters. This is what I call the murder/suicide note house, located on the grounds of the Underground Railroad. The picture is 100% real, and I have returned there around 20 times, always capturing something. This house is filled with evil, which explains why the husband wanted to kill his family. It has been abandoned since 2011. The good news is the family survived and is safe. The photograph shows the decaying exterior of the abandoned house. But in one of the windows, something stares back, a face, pale and distorted, hovering behind the glass. The features seem stretched, twisted into an expression that is neither human nor entirely recognizable. Some viewers describe it as a silent scream, others as a cold, emotionless gaze. The house's violent history lingers in every room, and many believe the image reveals a trapped presence, something left behind after years of suffering and fear. What do you think is looking out of the window? Comment below. The owner of this unsettling photograph described himself as a skeptic until he saw what the camera had captured. The picture was taken inside an abandoned house on his stepfather's property. At the time, his stepfather was on the left, pulling bullets out of a wall, and nothing unusual seemed present. It wasn't until he reviewed the images later that he noticed something disturbing. In the background, partially hidden in the dim light, a distorted face appears, pale, hollow, and staring directly toward the camera. The expression looks frozen, impossibly rigid, like a mask or something carved from light and shadow. No one else had been inside the house. No neighbors, no passers-by. The building had been empty for years. Still, the face remains in the photo, impossible to explain away. Who do you think is staring from behind the wall? The owner of this photograph wrote, "We captured this chilling image with our trail camera overlooking the garden where the children play during the day. The picture shows an unexpected visitor that terrified us when we reviewed the footage. Behind the swings to the left stands a translucent silhouette. It appears upright, motionless, and strangely out of place, neither solid nor fully transparent. Whether it was a real ghost or a camera malfunction remains unknown. What do you think the camera captured in the garden? Leave your thoughts below." It happened on the Day of the Dead. A young man and his cousin visited their teacher in Cameron, sir, and in the evening they accompanied him to the cemetery. He wanted to honor his deceased relatives. The cemetery was crowded. Candles, noise, voices, the usual atmosphere of November 1st. They stood behind their teacher as he lit a candle. While waiting, they decided to take a photo together. The young man leaned toward a nearby stone and read the name, known, then they calmly posed for the picture. When they returned home, he borrowed the teacher's phone to check the photos. That was when the strange part began. Behind them stood a man, clear, visible, looking directly at the camera. But the most terrifying detail was this: no one could have stood there. The space behind them was completely blocked off. There was no way for anyone to reach that spot, and they hadn't seen a single person near them. They still cannot explain who appeared in the photograph, especially on a day when the living say the dead can return for a short time. It looks disturbing, and no one knows how it appeared there. Who do you think stood behind them that night? She had never paid much attention to the photograph. It sat in a box of old memories, a circular snapshot taken after graduation. They sat around a table, smiling, relaxed. Everything seemed ordinary. But 20 years later, while going through the photos again, she noticed what she had never seen before. Behind them stood figures, 3 at least, blurred, half-formed, looming in the dark background. One had no face at all, just smooth skin. Another had hollow spaces where eyes should be. She remembered the evening clearly. No one else had been there. The figures looked disturbingly close, as if the past had reached forward through the photo, trying to be noticed. Who were the shadows behind them? A man set up a hidden trail camera on a deer path on his property in North Carolina. It usually captured animals, deer, raccoons, the occasional bird. But one night, it captured something else. A girl. She stood barefoot among the trees, glowing faintly. The light didn't come from the sun or any lamp. It came from within. A soft, cold luminance, like moonlight without a source. The man insisted she wasn't human. No one walks there at night. There are no houses, no trails, nothing but wilderness. He replayed the footage over and over. The figure appeared in one frame and vanished in the next. No approach, no departure, just one impossibly captured moment. He later admitted he heard steps that night, someone walking over dry branches. But when he went out with a flashlight, the forest was empty. Only the blinking camera, as if showing that it had seen something the eye wasn't meant to see. That he removed the camera soon after. Who do you think she was? The image seems to show a normal volunteer cleanup day. But behind the girl in the blue hoodie on the right, something strange is hiding. Between the trees, a pale face emerges, mouth open, frozen in what looks like a silent scream. At first glance it seems like a trick of the light, but the figure is far too distinct. The picture makes the heart beat faster, leaving a feeling that something non-human is lurking just out of sight. A digital manipulation, or a real ghost. The mystery remains unsolved. What do you think this screaming face belongs to? In the historic New Bell Inn pub in Harwich, Essex, a visitor snapped a photo near the fireplace. When reviewed later, it revealed what looked like an elderly woman sitting calmly by the flames. The men in the picture never noticed her presence. Locals whisper of a spirit known to haunt the pub, the ghost of a widow who once owned the inn centuries ago. Some say she still sits by the fire every night, waiting for the husband who never came home from sea. The photo's authenticity has been debated for years, but one thing remains certain. Those who've stood near that fireplace often describe feeling a sudden chill, as if invisible eyes were watching. Coincidence? Or a glimpse into a tragic past that refuses to fade? The photo shows an old hallway lined with antique tiles, dimly lit by a single flickering light. On the left, a half-open wooden door stands slightly ajar. A human-like figure with a faint, indistinct face peers out from the shadows, almost blending with them. The longer one looks, the stronger the sense that this presence is aware of being seen, silently waiting to be noticed. The atmosphere in the corridor feels heavy, as if the air itself remembers something terrible. What was that figure doing there, standing so still, watching, or waiting? What do you think? Trick of light, or something far more sinister lurking in the dark? Mary King's Close in Edinburgh, Scotland, has long been known as a place inhabited by ghosts. This photograph, provided by the Real Mary King's Close, an organization offering tours through the underground streets, allegedly captures one of those spirits. In the doorway stands a semi-transparent figure of a woman, her outline faint but unmistakable. The air around her seems warped, as if the figure disrupts the photograph itself. Her posture looks unnatural, slightly leaned as though stepping forward, or waiting. Visitors and tour guides have often reported the presence of a female spirit wandering the old corridors. Many believe this image may be proof of her existence, drifting silently in a place long forgotten by the living. What do you think appears in the doorway? Let us know in the comments. In 2013, a worker in the film and television industry spent many nights on duty inside the abandoned Linda Vista Hospital in Los Angeles, a location infamous for its unsettling atmosphere. The building was massive, silent, and deeply unnerving. When traveling from one part of the set to another, workers often had to run through the empty hallways just to avoid the oppressive silence. Years later, while transferring old photos to a new computer, he came across a picture taken in one of those hallways. At the far end of the corridor, barely visible, stood a figure. Enlarging the image only made it more disturbing. The shape appears humanoid but blurred, its edges unnatural, as though it doesn't quite belong in the physical world. No crew member had been in that part of the building at the time. In the abandoned hospital, something seemed to be walking the halls long after the patients and staff were gone. What do you think was captured in the corridor? This picture looks as though it came from an old, long-forgotten album, one nobody should open after dark. A young woman stands in the foreground, but she is not the focus. The entire scene is filled with a strange, heavy stillness, the kind found only in places where the forest seems to whisper to itself. On both sides of her rise dark stone towers, resembling gateways into territory humans are not meant to enter. Their hollow openings look like watchful eyes, and the trees behind them seem to close tightly around the path. But the most disturbing detail is the blurred figure beside her. At first glance it resembles a camera error, yet when examined closely, it looks as if something unseen tried to reach for her at the last moment. Nothing about the image feels accidental. It seems to capture a moment that usually remains hidden on the other side of the living world, the moment when something cold and invisible comes too close. What do you think reached toward her? Share your thoughts in the comments. This picture was taken in 1991 at Maple Park Cemetery in Springfield, Missouri. The camera captured rows of old gravestones scattered across the landscape. In the background, near one of the graves, a translucent figure is visible, barely noticeable at first glance. Its outlines are unclear, but the shape resembles a human silhouette. No one who was present that day remembered seeing anything unusual. Only later, while reviewing the photos, did a relative notice the strange blur, which upon zooming in looked unmistakably like a person. Interestingly, the corner of the cemetery where the figure appeared is the resting place of a man who died under mysterious circumstances in the 1940s. His story eventually became a local legend. People said he refused to move on, that his soul remained attached to this place. Residents often claimed they heard footsteps among the graves even when the cemetery was empty. The photograph was later featured in a local newspaper and discussed by paranormal researchers. Some believe it was just a trick of the light. Others insist that the camera captured the moment when the boundary between worlds trembled. Who, or what, stood among the graves? Write your thoughts below. This photograph, taken around 1938, was sent to Dr. Kimberly Molto, a neuroscientist in Ontario, and later posted online. The original photo was taken by a woman documenting the before and after condition of her basement ahead of renovations. In the picture, a man is sweeping the dark corner of the basement. The wife confirmed that the man in the image was her husband, but there was a problem. Her husband had died of a massive heart attack in that basement several years before the photograph was taken. So who was sweeping the floor? What do you think this figure is? The young woman recalled that the incident happened about 13 years ago. She and her friends were enjoying the evening, drinking, laughing. Someone suggested taking a photo. When she looked at the picture, she froze in terror. On the left side of the frame emerged the figure of an elderly man with deep-set, dark eyes. His expression was blank yet piercingly serious. His face carried both sorrow and something sinister. She admitted the memory still gives her chills. She never understood who, or what, it was. A ghost? Or something older, watching them through time and darkness. What do you think this man was? This mysterious photograph belongs to Ross Cheeseman, and he openly admits that what was captured here remains a complete mystery. The picture was taken inside an old London restaurant. The quality of the photo is excellent, yet behind the young woman stands a strange blurred figure. Ross rarely talks about this moment, because whatever is lurking behind them looks genuinely insane and deeply unsettling, something that shouldn't be there, yet somehow is. What do you think appeared behind her? Write your thoughts in the comments. In July, a visitor touring the Rochester Cathedral in England took a photo of the ancient interior. At first, nothing seemed strange, but later, while reviewing the pictures, one shot stood out. In the dim corridor near the altar stands a dark, shadowy figure, barely visible yet undeniably there. Its outline resembles a person, motionless, watching. The photographer insists the place was empty at the time. Historians say the cathedral has seen centuries of tragedy, burials, fires, and countless prayers for the dead. Perhaps one soul never left. Was this just a shadow, or a guardian spirit still wandering the sacred halls? After an evening walk near the forest, a group of friends decided to take one last photo before heading home. They stood smiling in front of the trees, unaware that something else was standing behind them. Only later, at home, did they notice the terrifying detail. Between the dark trunks, a blurred shape appeared, tall, vaguely human, with two faintly glowing eyes staring straight at the camera. None of them remember seeing anyone there. The figure's outline is distorted, like a shadow that doesn't belong to anyone. Some who've seen the image say it feels as if the forest itself is alive, watching, breathing, hiding something old and hungry among the trees. What do you think those glowing eyes belong to? The photographer recalled, a while ago, some friends went camping and took this picture with a digital camera. But here's what's strange, those red figures weren't there. Nothing showed up through the viewfinder, just an empty forest. The shapes only appeared when we uploaded the photos to the computer. Ever since, we've had this uneasy feeling that something was out there with us, watching. Behind the group, faint crimson shapes can be seen, human-like but distorted, glowing softly against the dark trees. Their presence feels unnatural, predatory. What were those red silhouettes in the woods that night? This picture was taken in 1976 by the owner's stepfather. Behind the mother and the young girl, a blurred face appears in the background, indistinct yet undeniably human-shaped. No one in the family has been able to identify the figure, and to this day they have no explanation. The face seems to hover, disconnected from any body, as if floating in the shadows behind them. Many who saw the image online described the expression as unsettling, almost mournful. Whatever the photograph captured remains a mystery, but its presence behind the family is impossible to ignore. Who, or what, do you think this face belongs to? Comment below. This photograph has remained a source of fear within one family for decades. The man who shared it explained that he had been fascinated by the paranormal since childhood, visiting many haunted locations without ever finding proof, except this one picture. The original photograph was taken long before the internet existed. It shows his brother's family visiting their childhood home, the grandfather, now deceased, and his 11 siblings gathered in the house where they grew up. The building was empty at the time, a single-story home with very little furniture left. Everyone visible inside the house appears in the photo. No children were present, but when the image is enlarged and the window on the left is examined, something else emerges. The faint outline of a young girl standing behind the glass, holding what looks like a doll. Her form appears small, pale, and entirely out of place. No one under 60 was present that day. No one remembers a child being there. The discovery still terrifies the family. Was this a child from the past, or something else? Write your thoughts in the comments. This photograph was taken in a garage. The woman in the picture was lost in thought while her husband snapped a photo. Everything felt quiet, almost peaceful, but behind her, something appears to be hiding. On the left side of the frame, a disturbing face emerges from the shadows. Its features are faint yet unmistakably human-like. Eyes, a mouth, a pale outline staring directly toward the camera. The husband still has no idea what he managed to capture that evening and hopes someone can explain it. Who, or what, was hiding behind her? This image shows a young woman sitting in her kitchen, surrounded by ordinary household calm. Everything seems peaceful, until something in the frame disturbs the sense of normalcy. A whitish, fog-like formation gathers beside her, and within that mist, a shape becomes visible. Tall, elongated, with stretched limbs and blurred features, the figure appears to be standing close, leaning slightly as though trying to peer over her shoulder. The woman claimed she was alone and saw nothing unusual at the time. The photo was taken casually, without any intention of capturing the paranormal. The photograph seems to have caught the moment when something in the house chose to reveal itself. What do you think was standing behind her? This photograph lay untouched in an old album for years. A family evening, a cozy living room. Everything looked ordinary until someone noticed a face between the husband and wife. Distorted, empty-eyed, out of place. But the strangest part wasn't the face itself. It was the fact that the face did not exist in the original print. It appeared later, only on the digital copy. At first they blamed file corruption, but with every new save, every new upload, the face grew clearer, sharper, as if remembering what it once looked like. As if returning, family members recognized it. It was their son, the one who died in an accident they rarely discussed. He had always been the quiet one, always standing between them. And now, even in the photograph, he was standing there again, waiting to be seen. What do you think happened to this picture? Share your thoughts below. The house was old, abandoned, forgotten. Once it had been filled with voices and light. Now it stood in silence, with peeling paint and creaking boards. But one night, the property's security camera detected movement. The protocol required 3 photos in a row. On the first, an empty yard. On the third, also nothing. But on the second frame, a figure. A gray silhouette, shaped like it had been cut from fog. Head, arms, one leg, all visible, yet distorted as if seen through a veil. No footprints, no trail. Just one impossible appearance in a single instant. The owner insisted no human had been there for years. The camera was functional, with no false triggers. And still, something appeared. Or someone. Something that existed for only a fraction of a second, just long enough to be seen. What do you think this figure was? Two friends wandered into an abandoned cemetery at night to see if ghost rumors were true. One of them lay down on a gravestone, probably as a joke, though it turned out to be a terrible idea. They took a picture of one of the stone graves, and only then noticed something strange. Above the grave hovered a nearly transparent figure that it floated silently, as if observing them, without making a sound. The figure seemed to lean forward slightly, as though warning them they were in a forbidden place. The photo looked so real that the friends froze in terror, staring at it again and again, unable to explain what they had seen. What do you think hovered above the grave? During a routine visit to a centuries-old castle, a tourist took what was meant to be just another souvenir photo. But when the film was developed, the image revealed something far from ordinary. In the middle of the vast, dimly lit hall, a group of translucent figures appeared, faint yet unmistakable. Their outlines seemed to move, as though caught mid-step, gliding silently through the air. The photographer insists there were no people present when the shutter clicked. Locals believe the castle still echoes with the spirits of those who once lived and died within its stone walls. Others think it's simply an illusion of dust and light. But once you've seen the photo, it's hard to shake the feeling that those halls are never truly empty. Could this be the restless past reaching out from beyond time? This photo was taken during a celebration at a kindergarten in Japan. The children, dressed in costumes and masks, were posing for a cheerful group photo. But what was meant to be a memory of laughter became something much darker. In the upper window behind them, a pale face can be seen, the face of a small boy, expressionless, silently watching the children below. Teachers confirmed that no one was upstairs at the time. Locals whisper that a child once died there decades ago and that his spirit never left. The building has since been renovated, but visitors still report the feeling of eyes on them whenever they pass those windows. The person who posted this wrote, "While my 2 sons were at school, I was in the bedroom with my daughter when my phone sent an alert from the living room camera. I thought it was odd since no one was home, but when I opened the alert, I saw something in the bathroom behind the baby gate. It looked like a small child. Whatever it was, it looked exactly like my younger son, but both my boys were at school. The resemblance to the missing child is uncanny, same height, same posture. What was that thing in the house, mimicking the boy who wasn't there?" This incident occurred around 2 a.m. on the grandfather's ranch. Because everyone needed to leave early in the morning and the cold was extreme, the family was told to start the car ahead of time. The photographer went outside with an older cousin. In the near total darkness, the cousin accidentally turned on the camera instead of the flash. When the camera lit up the area, a figure appeared, the shape of a boy standing with his head tilted, his jaw seemingly broken or deformed. "Look, it's a boy," the photographer said, but when they asked his name, he did not respond. He only stood there silently, unmoving. Terrified, they ran inside to tell the adults. The next morning, ranch workers explained that a child had once died in that exact spot, an 8-year-old boy who never made it home. The photograph matches the story disturbingly well, a dark figure with a twisted face standing alone in the cold night. Was this the spirit of the lost child? Share your thoughts. Years ago, a woman took several photos of her husband on their terrace using a basic digital camera. Later, while uploading the images to her computer, she deleted the ones she didn't plan to keep, until one photograph stopped her cold. Behind her husband, floating above the garden bed and fence, a translucent figure appeared. It looked almost like a person watching from a distance, yet its body had no solid outline. It hovered in the air, pale and shapeless, as if forming itself from mist. The family had encountered strange events in the house before, unexplained noises, movements, and shadows, but nothing like this had ever shown up in her camera. There was nothing on the terrace that could reflect light that way, nothing that could create a shape like that. What do you think this hovering figure was? In this image, a couple poses for a cheerful photo, unaware of the blurry silhouette standing beside them. The figure has no face, only a vague shape, almost human but wrong in every detail. It leans subtly toward them, as though observing the couple closely. The outline looks like a ghostly form frozen mid-movement. There is an eerie story linked to this figure. People who unknowingly appear near it supposedly never live long after the photo is taken. Whether coincidence or something darker, the thought alone is unsettling. What do you think this faceless figure was? This photograph feels like a scene from a nightmare. The facade of an old house, a balcony with iron railings, the glow of an open doorway, and a figure. A small, gray, almost transparent girl stands there, as if waiting for someone. According to legend, the house once belonged to an apothecary's family. In 1927, their daughter Eliza vanished. Search efforts lasted for weeks. Streets, wells, attics were examined. Only her shoe was found, resting on the balcony where she liked to play. The house was abandoned afterward. Locals claimed they heard a child's laughter at night and that the windows opened on their own, as if someone was calling the wind inside. Years later, the truly terrifying events began. People who tried entering the house started having the same dream: the balcony, the light, and the girl standing in the shadows. She never spoke, but her gaze pulled them inward. One paranormal investigator who visited the house vanished, never to return. Some believe Eliza never simply disappeared. She merged with the house itself. Who do you think the girl on the balcony was? These two photos were taken 2 years apart in the same room. Nothing unusual, just regular snapshots, until the family began examining them closely. They hadn't known at the time that the child often talked to someone no adult could see. He called him his friend, said he visited when adults weren't looking. In the first photo, the boy stands turned to the right, toward what seems like empty space. But a faint figure appears beside him, as if he's speaking to it. In the second photo, he sits calmly, but the same shape appears again, closer this time, almost protective. The more they tried to understand it, the less sense it made. Who was the child talking to? The picture was taken during a family birthday. Guests sat at the table. The room was filled with celebration. Everything looked perfectly ordinary. But later, while scrolling through the images, the family noticed something disturbing. Behind the woman on the left, in the depth of the frame, a figure appeared. No one had invited her. No one had seen her. A face with an empty expression, long hair, eyes staring directly into the camera. The gaze didn't seem accidental, too exact, too alive. They checked every other picture from that evening. No trace of the figure anywhere. Only this one. And since then, the photo has made everyone uneasy, because it seems she didn't simply appear. She knew exactly when and where to be. Who do you think appeared in the family photo? Legend says that women disappear in this forest. Locals claim their souls stay among the trees forever. On the right side of the photo, between the trunks, a pale figure can be seen. Residents insist it's the ghost of one of the missing women. Her eyes appear empty, hollow, and her gaze feels as if it follows anyone looking at the picture, silent, cold, and disturbingly present. What do you think this figure is? While sorting through old family photos, a woman came across one taken years ago during Christmas. In the picture, two sisters stand smiling, one on the left, one on the right. But behind the girl on the right, something else lurks on the wall. It's faint, humanoid, with a face twisted in an unnatural grin. Its thin black hand appears to rest on the girl's neck, though there was nothing behind her but a bare wall. The more you stare, the clearer the figure becomes, like it's slowly stepping forward from the background. The family never found an explanation. Even the original negatives confirmed it was there. Some say it's a demonic presence. Others think it's a trick of the flash. But once you've seen that hand, you can't unsee it. What do you think? Illusion, or something darker watching that family? A university professor once showed this strange photo displayed in one of the old campus buildings. It was originally taken at a nearby abandoned mine, long closed after several fatal accidents. The picture shows a miner posing for the camera, covered in dust, nothing unusual at first glance. But in the background, half hidden in the darkness of the tunnel, a translucent face seems to peer out from behind the rocks. Its eyes look hollow, its mouth slightly open, as if whispering something unheard. Many believe it's the ghost of a miner who never left the depths, forever watching those who dare to enter. Others insist it's a mere trick of light. Still, the gaze in that photo feels too real, too aware. What was that face doing in the dark? The owner of this photo wrote, "Any thoughts on this? My security camera captured it. I'm the one in the robe, but the other figure, I have no idea who or what that is." The image shows a dark hallway, and in the doorway floats what seems to be a human-like head, faint, semi-transparent, featureless, and hovering in midair. Many online compared it to a genuine apparition. Was it a glitch in the camera, or had something truly entered their home that night? This photograph comes from the era when film was the only option. It shows the great-great-grandmother of the photographer's co-worker. The photo was taken by her grandfather while the house was burning. By that time, the woman had already been dead for many years. Yet in the photograph, she appears in the kitchen, clearly visible despite the flames and the smoke. Her figure stands in the empty house as if completely unaffected by the fire, watching from the place she once called home. Whether this was her spirit returning one last time or something imitating her shape will never be known. But the image of a deceased woman standing calmly inside a burning house continues to unsettle everyone who sees it. What do you think appeared in that kitchen? Tell us in the comments. This photograph, taken in 2009, continues to trouble experts even today. The ruined castle, a 14th century fortress perched on a remote headland near North Berwick, has stood abandoned for centuries. Soldiers of Oliver Cromwell severely damaged it in 1651, and since then the structure has remained silent, wind-scarred, and empty. Christopher Atchison captured the image during a visit. What should have been a simple landscape photograph revealed something inexplicable: the figure of a woman standing inside the ruins. Her form appears pale, motionless, and distinctly human. But the castle has been uninhabited for generations. No actors, no reenactors, no tourists were near that spot during the shot. The figure stands alone among the crumbling stone, as if watching from the past, or from somewhere far stranger. Who was the woman in the ruins? This picture shows an ordinary family, smiling for a simple snapshot. But their mother noticed something disturbing and sent the image to people familiar with paranormal activity. Behind the girl stands a dark figure with a frightening face, clearer when the brightness is increased. The features do not resemble anyone the family knows. The expression appears twisted, unnatural, as if captured mid-whisper. The family still fears what this presence might mean for their future. Who do you think this face belongs to? The owner of this picture explained that it was taken in San Clemente, California, by a friend of their son. The quality was not great, a simple nighttime phone photo taken in the Riviera Tunnel, but it needed no enhancement. In the darkness stands a shape that is not human, gray, thin, barely visible, almost crawling along the tunnel wall as if trying not to be noticed. Some viewers believe it's one of the most convincing captures of something non-human, something that moves in darkness, avoiding light, avoiding people. What do you think lurks in that tunnel? Write your thoughts below. The scene appears to be an ordinary party, until the viewer notices the right edge of the frame. Behind the girls, something stands in the background. A gray figure, as if sculpted from smoke, with empty eyes. None of the guests saw it at the time. Only later, while browsing the photos, one participant froze and whispered, "Someone was there, but we were alone." Who do you think this gray figure was? The owner of this photo insisted the security camera was brand new. He left it charging on the nightstand before going out to meet friends. The motion detection feature sent an alert to his phone while he was at the pub. Movement detected. Photos saved. When he opened the images, his breath caught. A dark, blurry figure stood inside his bedroom. Poor quality or not, the outline looked human, or something disturbingly close to human. People who saw the image noticed another detail. The house stood in Britain, where many homes are built over old underground passages used by monks during medieval sieges. And no one knows what might still move through those tunnels at night. What do you think entered the bedroom? A man said he took this photograph shortly after a car accident earlier this year. An SUV made a dangerous illegal turn and hit his vehicle. He had been driving, and his co-worker sat in the passenger seat. Once they safely stopped, he managed to snap a few photos, though his hands were shaking from the stress. One of them turned out unexpectedly clear. Strangely, behind the car on the left, a figure appeared, a figure resembling his grandfather, who had died when the man was only 12. Several people who knew the grandfather also noticed the resemblance. What made it even more chilling, the accident happened just a few steps away from a cemetery. Who do you think stood behind the car that night? In 1984, a man took a photo of his grandmother sitting peacefully in her living room. There was no smoke, no haze, nothing unusual. But when the picture developed, a faint mist appeared beside her chair, slowly forming the outline of a man. The family instantly recognized the shape. It resembled her late husband, who had passed away years before. Many believe he appeared to remind her that he was still by her side, watching over her. The image is soft, eerie, and oddly comforting. Some call it coincidence. Others, a final visit from a soul unwilling to say goodbye. Was it just a reflection, or love strong enough to cross death itself? The young woman was simply taking a picture of her dog sitting by the window. When she reviewed the photo later, she froze. Reflected in the glass was the faint outline of a man hovering just outside, pale, transparent, and clearly not there when the picture was taken. His face is blurred, but his form unmistakable, as though caught between worlds. The woman posted the photo online, desperate for an explanation, but none came. The house was on the second floor, the window locked. Some users claim they see a shadow of a hat or a faint arm reaching toward the glass. Was it the spirit of a lost soul, or something that came too close that night? The photographer explained, "I was in Bisbee, Arizona, about 15 years ago, taking part in a ghost tour. I had just bought a new camera from Best Buy, nothing fancy, just a regular one no one uses anymore. I played with the settings, taking random shots. Only later, when looking through the pictures, did I see her, the ghostly girl. For the record, there were no children on the tour. The spot where this was taken used to be an old cemetery before it was turned into a playground." He sent the image to a now-defunct paranormal website that published it, noting that long exposure shots often capture what the naked eye cannot. In the photo, a small girl stands near the swings, wearing old-fashioned pajamas, her face pale, her eyes clearly visible even through the blur. Who was she? A trick of the light, or one of the forgotten souls still wandering that ground? The owner of this Polaroid shared, "On the right is my mother, and on the left is my aunt." The photograph was supposed to show just the two of them. "I swear no one was standing behind my mother. If someone had been there, the camera would not have darkened out the entire space like that. This is not staged, not edited. I grew up in a house where strange things happen constantly. Everyone in my family has their own stories, and we even had group experiences that I will never forget. Please look closely and see if you notice anything wrong. I would love to hear your thoughts. I am open to logical explanations, but based on everything we've lived through, it seems like this is the thing that was following us for years." Behind the woman in the photo, just to the right, a shadowy figure forms, tall, dark, and almost unnaturally still. The darkness around it feels thicker than the rest of the image, as though light bends away from that spot. There are no visible features, only the silhouette of something standing far too close, watching silently while the two women pose unaware. The family's stories of past encounters suddenly gain weight when paired with this image. If something truly followed them for years, perhaps this photograph is its most undeniable appearance. Who or what is standing behind them? Tell us your thoughts. The young woman was preparing for a long-awaited trip. As she stepped into the car, a family member snapped a photo to capture the moment. But when they looked at the image, someone on the back seat caught their attention. A figure sat behind her, faint, shaped like a person, yet not recognizable as anyone the family knew. Its outline looked too still, too shadowed, as though it blended into the dark interior of the car. After that day, no one heard from the girl again. What happened remains unknown. Who, or what, was sitting in the back seat? In one video, a young woman stood on a terrace late in the evening. She asked a close friend to take her picture. Everything seemed normal at first glance, just a quiet night and two people enjoying the moment. But on the right side of the image, in the background, a dark silhouette appears. Its outline is uneven, vaguely human yet unmistakably distorted. The woman insists she was alone there with her friend, and no one else stood on the terrace that night. Whatever the shadow was, it seems to stand too close, too still, as if it had been watching them. What do you think this silhouette was? They say the cave where this wedding photo was taken once had a name, the Throat of the Dead. Locals avoided it, especially in November when the air inside grew cold and heavy, as if the earth itself held its breath. In the 19th century, the body of a man was found there, seated against the wall, fingernails torn, eyes frozen wide. He had died of terror, without even attempting to escape. Legend claimed that if someone spoke a vow of love inside that cave, he would appear, sitting in the shadows, watching. Not a spirit, not a ghost, but something ancient tied to the place. They called him the Watcher. He never moved, never spoke. He simply waited. And those who noticed him were chosen. Sometimes a witness disappeared. Sometimes a photographer. Sometimes a newlywed. The figure sits deep in the darkness where no light reaches. It does not appear in earlier frames, nor in later ones. The bride and groom knew nothing of the legend, but according to friends, a year after the wedding they began experiencing horrific nightmares. Their lives soon became a torment, though they still do not understand what they encountered. What do you think the couple filmed in the cave? In South Carolina, a legend tells of a spirit known as the Gray Man, a ghost said to appear on Pawleys Island to warn residents of incoming hurricanes. According to the tale, the Gray Man is the spirit of a young man traveling to see his fiancée in 1822. On the way, he and his horse became trapped in the marsh and drowned. Since then, his ghost has wandered the coastline, searching for the woman he never reached. Witnesses say he brings no harm. In fact, he protects. After Hurricane Hugo, Jim and Clara Moore described on Unsolved Mysteries how they saw a man waving to them from the beach, only to vanish moments later. Their home survived the storm. Their neighbors' homes didn't. This photo allegedly captures the Gray Man himself. A tall, faint figure stands on the shore, quiet, distant, watching. Was this the spirit of Pawleys Island? Recently, motion sensors at Chester Castle went off. The surveillance cameras showed a faceless figure standing near the old gate, where a medieval tower once stood. A guard arrived with a large dog, but the moment he stepped out of the car, he felt as if countless unseen eyes were watching him. The dog, usually fearless, lowered its ears, growled, and refused to move. Central Control demanded a full inspection. The guard walked along the wall, checking every dark corner, but found no intruder, no. A 4-year-old girl from North Tonawanda, New York, told her parents that a woman visited her from time to time, a woman only she could see. For several weeks, the girls said that an unusually dressed elderly lady named Peg entered her bedroom at night. Almost every night she quietly opened the door, came inside, and sat near the child's bed. The visitor never spoke, only watched the girl. And the girl would tell her stories until she fell asleep. The parents were concerned, but dismissed the child's claims as imagination. Then everything turned into something straight out of a horror film. While the family was playing in the living room, the father decided to take a picture. And in that photo, appeared a ghostly face. The couple is certain it wasn't a trick of shadows or a coincidental pattern on the leather couch. Seeing the horrifying face materialize near their child convinced them that something supernatural was inside their home, something fixated on their daughter. They contacted the local newspaper Art Voice and shared the story. Journalists not only printed it, but also recommended a medium who could cleanse the house. As soon as psychic Natalie Barnfield stepped inside, she felt a deadly presence. She took the Polaroid photo and asked the family to leave for the night. While the couple and their daughter slept in a nearby hotel, Barnfield spent hours driving out the unwanted visitor. It turned out to be a malevolent spirit draining the girl's energy. The exorcism succeeded. The family now lives in their home without fear of the unknown. Their daughter still sleeps with her parents for now, but soon she will return to her room. The psychic kept the photograph of the phantom, with the family's permission. Who do you think Peg really was? Tell us in the comments. It was supposed to be an innocent photo, a mother capturing her daughter's smile. But later, when she looked closer, her heart nearly stopped. Behind the little girl stood a dark, human-like figure, partially hidden in shadow, staring straight into the lens. No one else had been in the room. The door was closed. The image spread across social media, dividing viewers. Some saw a shadow, others a clear silhouette of something far more sinister. Many claimed they can even make out faint eyes in the darkness. Who, or what, was standing behind that child? Dated 1999, the photo shows what appears to be a happy family, parents smiling, children laughing. But on the right side of the frame, something else can be seen. A figure, thin, distorted, with a cruel grin, seems to reach toward the little girl. The mother's eyes, too, look wrong, unnaturally closed, as if she's under some strange influence. Viewers have described the image as deeply unsettling, claiming they can sense malice in the expression of the unknown figure. Some believe it's a camera glitch. Others think the photo captured something darker, a presence trying to insert itself into the living. Could evil truly linger within a single moment, frozen forever in a family portrait? The woman who shared this photo said it was taken decades ago during a camping trip when her husband and two friends were teenagers. They used a film camera, no editing, no tricks. In the picture, the boys kneel by the fire, laughing. But behind them, two disturbing shapes appear. One, a shadowy figure standing to the left. The other, a grotesque face hovering above the flames. According to her, there was no one there at the time. Later, a psychic examined the photo and claimed there were several spirits present, gathered around the group, drawn to their laughter. What do you see? Just smoke and coincidence, or something far more sinister watching from the dark? The owner of these photographs explained, the security camera in the bedroom captured these images 8 months apart. I should also mention that the house has always felt completely safe. There has never been even the slightest sense of anything negative here, and even the dog seems perfectly comfortable with whatever this presence is. Yet the photographs tell a different story. Both images show faint, translucent figures sitting on the bed, shapes that look almost human, but blurred and hollow, as if carved from pale light. Their outlines appear soft yet deliberate, like silhouettes frozen mid-movement. The atmosphere around the bed seems to shift, as if the air itself folds around them. Whether these figures represent a benign presence or something that merely appears harmless remains uncertain. The calmness felt in the house contrasts strangely with the unnatural stillness of the shapes captured on camera. Viewers often claim they feel watched just looking at the photos, as if the figures are aware of being observed and sit silently in the dark, waiting for the camera to flash again. What do you think these figures are? Share your thoughts in the comments. A woman was celebrating a special day, moving into her new home. Friends and family arrived, congratulating her as she settled in. Someone snapped a photo to mark the occasion, but behind her stands a dark figure. Its shape is tall, shadowed, and unmistakably menacing, like something straight out of a horror film. Its eyes appear to glow faintly, staring directly at the camera, demanding to be seen. Many viewers believe the house was already occupied, just not by the living. Who do you think appeared behind her? Write your thoughts in the comments. At first glance, everything seems normal in this picture. Two girls taking a cheerful selfie. But the eye quickly shifts to the background. The form is blurred, unnaturally elongated, like a shadow that doesn't belong to any object in the room. The upper part has no recognizable head or face, only a mass of darkness beneath something that resembles a long, draped cloth. The image feels like an accidental capture of a presence that usually stays hidden from human sight, a dark anomaly watching them from behind. What do you think they photographed? The evening had been warm, full of laughter and light. The girls posed for photos. It was a celebration. The camera clicked. One shot, then another. Everything was beautiful, almost perfect. But in one picture, something appeared. Behind the girls, deep in the background on the left, a face emerged. Gray, stretched, eerie. It wasn't looking at the camera. It seemed to be looking through it. The photo spread quickly online. Viewers began noticing something unsettling. People who stared at the face too long started seeing it in reflections, in windows, in phone screens, in water. What do you think this horrifying face belonged to? They were sitting in the living room, candles flickering on the windowsill, filling the room with warm, almost ritual silence. It was a peaceful evening, except for the dog. She sat still, staring at something no one else could see. At first they assumed she heard a noise. Then, that she sensed a scent. But her gaze was too focused, too intense. A guest took a picture. Later, when they zoomed in, they realized what she had been watching. Next to her were legs, pale, faint, not belonging to anyone in the room. The shape suggested someone standing next to the dog, though no one had seen anyone there. Only the dog reacted. She growled softly, then howled when one of the candles suddenly went out by itself. Who stood beside the dog? No damage, no tracks. Only thick silence and the gut-deep sensation of someone standing directly behind him. The camera continued capturing the shadow, but in real life, the space was empty. English Heritage later wrote in their report that the guard was genuinely frightened, something extremely rare for him. Officially, they didn't call it a ghost, but they didn't rule out something connected to the castle's long, haunted history. A place where, according to legend, the shadows of old prisoners still wander. What do you think appeared at the gate? Share your thoughts below. The photo shows the Sign of Ella Cemetery, founded in 1872 in the United States. Historic place filled with countless secrets and legends. People say the ghost of a deceased businessman, Isaac Kate, still wanders there. On the left side of the image, a faint ghostly face can be spotted, barely visible yet unmistakable. Many buried here were victims of the Civil War. The cemetery also received remains transferred from other burial grounds, including the grave of Emory Ellis. At night, the silence is interrupted by soft steps and whispers drifting between the gravestones. Residents claim Kate's figure occasionally appears near the older graves, standing still as if watching new visitors. This place feels as if it carries the memories of everyone who rests there, memories of life and of death. Who do you think this face belonged to? In the quiet town of Glenview, Illinois, stands the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, a place known for peace, prayer, and something unexplainable. Witnesses have long spoken of strange encounters within its walls, soft whispers, flickering lights, and fleeting silhouettes that seem almost angelic. One evening, a visitor captured a glowing figure standing near the altar. The image revealed a luminous human shape, bathed in light yet casting no shadow. Parishioners were stunned. Many claimed they could feel an overwhelming sense of calm and awe when looking at the photo, as if something divine had been caught on camera. Skeptics call it a trick of light. Believers, however, say it's proof that the sacred and the unseen sometimes share the same space. What do you think? Miracle or something else entirely? This picture was taken in the summer of 2011 in rural Western Oregon, at a family property that had been in use since the 1970s. A man photographed two little girls playing in a creek. Only days later, when he finally sent the photo, did he notice something horrifying. In the upper left corner stood a third girl, watching them. No one present knew her. She wasn't there when the picture was taken. The image is clear. She's pale, with dark eyes, standing in the deepest part of the water. Some say the spot is cursed. Years ago, a child drowned there. The land itself seems to hold memories of that tragedy. Strange noises at night, cold spots, nightmares. What do you think? Coincidence, or a spirit tied forever to that place? Among the most chilling discoveries ever made in the Paris catacombs, this story began in the early 1990s when a group of cataphiles exploring the tunnel stumbled upon a video camera lying on the ground. To their shock, the device still contained footage. The recording captured a man wandering aimlessly through the labyrinth, clearly lost and increasingly terrified. His breathing grew frantic. The sound of footsteps echoed behind him, though he was alone. Then the video ended abruptly when the camera fell, still recording. The final frame, captured by a still feature function, showed a strange shape, something humanoid, yet not human, described by some as Anubis-like. The man's identity and fate remain unknown. Some believe he went mad and perished down there. Others claim the catacombs themselves claimed him. Could this terrifying encounter have inspired the horror film As Above, So Below? What do you think? Did he ever make it out? This is the famous ghost photograph taken by Trevor, the father of the person who shared it. The photo, captured on the coast of Dunedin years ago, has been analyzed by experts, skeptics, and photographers alike. None could prove any editing or tampering. The image is authentic. Behind Trevor stands a dark anomaly, a shadow in human form, faint but undeniable. Those who've seen it describe the presence as cold and oppressive, as if the figure itself emits dread. The photographer claims to have seen something similar later in life, and promises that the truth will be revealed in an upcoming documentary. What was the dark shape on the shore that day? Just a shadow, or something far older, drawn to the living? The owner of this image wrote, "My 3-year-old son was trying to take a picture of me. He did not realize the camera was pointed backward. He snapped several photos within seconds. When he finished, I took the camera to delete the pictures to free up space. The first 2 shots were blurry and unremarkable, but when I reached the third one, there was a terrifying face behind him. I have never seen this man in my life. We were home alone, and it was not me. I know what I look like." The photograph shows the child smiling, completely unaware that behind him, partially emerging from the dark, is a face, gaunt, pale, unfamiliar. The eyes appear hollow, almost sunken, yet intensely focused on the boy. The expression is unnatural, frozen in a way no living person's face should be. The owner still cannot explain what the camera captured. The house was empty. The doors were locked. No one else was there. And yet the photo suggests something, or someone, was standing only inches behind the child, silent and invisible to the naked eye. Who do you think this face belongs to? Comment below. Brittany explained that this photograph was taken in 2005 with a disposable Kodak camera. It captured an emotional moment for her family, the moment her brother finally woke from a coma, marking the first hopeful step in his recovery. Relatives gathered around his hospital bed, relieved and overwhelmed. But when the film was developed, something else appeared. On the left side of the photo, a dark figure stands near the bed. Its shape is human, yet strangely undefined, almost as if the shadows themselves had gathered into a silhouette. No one present remembered seeing anyone standing there, and no hospital staff matched the figure's appearance. The family has never understood who, or what, stood beside them at that moment. What was that figure? The bathroom looks ordinary. A person takes a simple picture of themselves, unaware of anything unusual, but behind them, the door is slightly open, and in the dark gap, something waits. Its outline is hazy, as though the darkness itself has taken a shape. The more one looks, the stronger the feeling becomes that the figure is not simply standing there, it is watching. Its presence feels almost physical, like cold air seeping from the doorway. No one knows where it came from or why it appeared at that moment. But whatever it is, it should not have been there. What do you think is hiding behind the door? This building had once been a train station. Built in the 1950s, it had seen thousands of passengers, countless night shifts, and one tragedy that nearly everyone tries to forget. In 1993, a young boy vanished in the waiting hall. His mother looked away for just one moment, and he was gone. No cameras, no witnesses, no trace. Only his jacket remained, neatly folded on a chair. The hall was closed for renovation soon afterward, but night guards began reporting strange events. The sound of small footsteps, the slight rocking of empty chairs as if someone had just sat down. One guard, tired of being mocked, installed a camera. And here is the frame it captured, a boy standing near the empty chairs on the right. He does not look entirely human, more like a pale ghostly outline. Today, the hall is open again. People come, sit, and wait. And sometimes, if one looks closely, a single chair sways softly, though no one else is near it. Was this the missing boy? He noticed it before leaving for work. A figure stood at the top landing of the stairs, illuminated by the hallway light, motionless, too perfect to be a shadow. He assumed it was clothing or furniture at first, but the outline was too solid, too attentive. When he climbed the stairs, the landing was empty. No coat, no objects. Only a dense silence, as if someone had left the moment before, or was still nearby. Who was standing on the stairs? Write your thoughts in the comments. A woman took a photograph of her young granddaughter years ago. The girl sat in a chair, and, according to the grandmother, only the two of them were in the room. The picture stayed in the family archive until one day her daughter noticed something terrifying. Behind the child stood a figure, not blurred, not moving, not a shadow, a face, pale, still, and staring. Instead of eyes, two dark voids, as if gazing directly through the camera and into the observer. The family insisted no one else was present. No visitor, no one standing behind the girl. Yet the face was there, watching, not the child, but the lens, watching anyone who dared to look at the photo. Since then, the picture has caused unease. Because it doesn't look like an accident. It looks like someone who had been there all along. Who do you think this face belonged to? The young woman said this photo was taken by her fiancé at a very old cemetery. They were simply taking pictures of gravestones, never expecting to capture anything unusual. But in the background, next to one of the tombstones, a strange figure can be seen. The discovery shocked them. Words couldn't describe the feeling. When they examined the photo at home, a wave of cold chills ran down their bodies. Locals claim that strange silhouettes sometimes appear near the oldest graves, standing silently among the stones. What do you think they captured at the cemetery? Early one morning, a woman awoke to find something horrifying staring down at her. On the ceiling above her bed appeared a distorted face, pale, eyeless, and stretched, as though pressed from the other side of the wall. She snapped a picture in panic. Even in the dim light, the features are unmistakable: hollow sockets, a twisted mouth, and a faint outline of shoulders fading into the plaster. No one has been able to explain the image. The marks disappeared days later, but she swears she still hears quiet movements above her at night. Is it pareidolia, or something trying to break through from the dark? A couple visited a ship famous for its haunted reputation to celebrate a birthday. They took several photos and videos, none remarkable, except one. Inside the Winston Churchill Lounge, deep in the back of the ship, the wife snapped a picture while her husband stood a few feet away. They were alone. Moments later, she gasped. In the image, a dark anomaly appeared, faint but unmistakable. The couple swears there was no one there. The guide later told them that passengers have long reported seeing figures appear in mirrors or reflected surfaces in that lounge. Was it a trick of the camera, or one of the ship's lost souls still wandering the decks? The owner said, "My brother sent me this photo. He was experimenting with cameras to monitor his sleep because he suspected he might be sleepwalking. He has no pets and was alone that night. Everything looked normal, except for this one shot, time-stamped 5:55 a.m. In the image, he lies peacefully on the couch, yet something faint hovers above him, a smoky shape, almost human, bending over his body as if watching or trying to reach into him. The other cameras in the house captured nothing unusual. Still, he couldn't shake the cold dread that something had visited him in his sleep. What do you think? Coincidence, or something trying to possess him?" This photograph was taken in a family home after a series of unsettling and unexplained events. Strange noises echoing through empty rooms, sudden coldness in the air, and objects moving on their own. The picture was taken in the very room where the family's beloved mother and grandmother had recently passed away. The photographer, one of her grandchildren, believes the image captured more than just shadows. The eerie face in the photograph appears pale and contorted, as though emerging from the air itself. Whether it truly resembles the grandmother or merely mimics a human form is unclear, but the expression, frozen in an unsettling mixture of sorrow and intensity, draws the eyes immediately. Some family members think the spirit remained to watch over the home one last time. Others fear the presence may be something entirely different. But one thing is certain: the face does not blend naturally with the surroundings. It stands out, stark and undeniable, staring directly into the lens. Do you think this is the spirit of the grandmother, or something else? Share your opinion below. A group of friends gathered for a casual party. Later, while reviewing photos from the night, they found one that none of them could explain. On the couch beside them sits a figure with glowing eyes, long dark hair, and a distorted face. Its expression is twisted into something both menacing and unnatural. None of the friends remember anyone who looked like that. Some blamed the alcohol. Others thought it must have been a camera error. But the figure's sharp features, the stare, and the way it leans slightly forward suggests something else, something that shouldn't have been there at all. What do you think this creature was? The final photograph shows a young medical worker in blue scrubs, captured inside a hospital room. Everything appears routine: bright lights, equipment, white walls. But next to her stands a translucent figure. Its outline is faint, blurred, yet unmistakably close. The woman claimed she was alone. No one stood near her, no one walked past. And yet the camera captured a silhouette impossible to explain. Recently, one of her patients had passed away, quietly, without any warning. She never linked the event to anything unusual, until this photo. The figure in the image does not radiate aggression or menace. Instead, it carries a sense of sorrow, as if someone returned for a final goodbye. Was this a spirit saying farewell? Share your thoughts in the comments. This photo was taken in the courtyard of an old psychiatric clinic. The building had not been used for its original purpose for many years. Part of it had been converted into an archive and administrative offices, but several rooms remained sealed and untouched. 3 staff members in white uniforms stepped outside after their morning shift to take a photo together. None of them noticed anything strange at the time. Only later, while looking at the picture, one of the employees spotted a figure behind them, a dark shape, wearing a hat, standing motionless behind the fence. None of the staff remembered anyone walking by. The security cameras were shut off due to ongoing electrical repairs, so no footage existed to confirm anything. Interestingly, the clinic's archives contained records from 1954 about a patient who was admitted there. The man, according to descriptions, always wore a black hat and coat, even during the summer. He claimed he was being watched through the bars and would often stand by the window, staring into the courtyard. He died under mysterious circumstances. He disappeared from a locked room, and his body was never found. Ever since then, some employees have occasionally noticed strange shadows near the fence, though no one paid much attention until this photograph. What stood behind the fence that morning? Port Arthur in Tasmania is one of the darkest and most haunted historic sites in Australia. Founded in 1830 as a penal colony, it became a symbol of cruelty and psychological torture. Prisoners were kept in isolation, forced into silence, stripped even of their names. Hundreds died there over the decades, and the place became saturated with stories of ghosts and unexplained events. But its most horrifying chapter came in 1996, when a mass shooting took place on the grounds. 35 people were killed, dozens injured. The tragedy changed Australia forever and left a permanent scar on Port Arthur's atmosphere. Many say the place breathes pain and that its shadows are not just shadows. In the photo stands the door of the Trentham Cottage, one of the buildings in the complex. Behind the glass is a figure, the silhouette of a man in a hat, standing in an empty, locked room. The cottage was officially closed, and no one could have been inside. Locals believe this figure is not one ghost, but an echo of collective suffering, a shape drawn from the memories of those who died here. They say those who see the figure begin to hear whispers. What was standing behind the glass? A woman installed a small security camera in her bedroom to monitor the house while she traveled. One night she went to sleep as usual, unaware that this ordinary camera would capture something horrifying. The next morning she checked the footage and froze. Right beside her bed, a face appeared. Pale, distorted, staring directly into the camera. A cold wave ran down her spine. Zooming in made it worse. The features looked exhausted. The hair was messy. The eyes held a heavy, suffocating sadness. No sounds, no movement, just that silent, watching face lingering in the night. Who do you think stood beside her bed? A man explained that his close friend suddenly passed away on December 5th, 2024. He died at home, though the official announcement came only from the hospital. The very next night, someone called the widow and said that while walking past her workshop, they saw the lights turning on and off by themselves. The widow's stepdaughter grew suspicious, since the workshop door wasn't locked. She started securing all the doors and installing security cameras, hoping to catch whoever might be entering. Then, on the morning of December 30th, the motion detection app sent a photo. In the image, a faint, transparent figure appeared, barely there, but unmistakable. The widow is convinced it was her husband, returning one last time. Do you think the figure was her husband's spirit? Comment below. In this photograph, a woman in a dress sits in a chair holding an infant. Everything appears normal, until the eyes fall to the lower right corner. There, something pale and translucent emerges, its unnaturally long arms extending toward the chair. The shape is unclear, but the elongated limbs stand out immediately. They belong neither to the woman nor the child. They are too thin, too long, as though stretched in an attempt to reach for something. The woman insists she was alone in the room. The photo was taken on old film, without digital effects. Some believe such manifestations are remnants of lingering energy trapped in a space. Neighbors had once told stories about an elderly woman who lived in the house many years earlier. She had lost her child long ago. They said she would often sit in that very chair holding an old doll and muttering that, "He is still here." The photograph seems to have captured a moment when the past reached out again, not with malice, but with longing. The long, ghostly arms appear less threatening and more like a desperate attempt to touch something that once mattered. Who do you think those long arms belong to? Share your thoughts in the comments. This happened at the entrance of a hospital. The photo was taken personally by the staff member who shared the story. Everything seemed normal at first, an empty corridor, a quiet evening shift, nothing unusual. But when the picture was opened, a dark figure appeared at the very end of the hallway. It stood perfectly still. It wasn't hiding, wasn't moving, simply existing. The strangest part was the feeling it created, as if it was calling. Not with a gesture or motion, but with a quiet pull, a sense of being summoned, as if it wanted someone to come closer. Security cameras showed nothing. The guards reported nothing. No one saw anything, except the person holding the photo. And the photo became the only proof. Since then, the entrance feels different, because even without the camera, it sometimes feels like the figure is still there. What do you think was at the end of the hall? Write your thoughts in the comments. Paper motherfucker, I read the motherfucker, I read the motherfucker.